heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Wednesday, the 25th day of March 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had a peaceful, restful evening. Those few of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands today, again, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. The mere fact that there is less traffic on the road does not give you a license to drive faster or even drive more recklessly as well. You still have to observe the rules of the road and remember that the life you save may be your own. For those of you who have lost loved ones over the past few weeks, past few days, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. Those celebrating a birthday today, I want to give you a big shout out, happy birthday, and a big one goes out to our colleague here at Radio Cayman, Miss Susan Watson. She's celebrating a birthday today, and all of her friends and her fans, including Miss Phyllis Moxham, send their greetings to you and wishing you a very happy birthday, Miss Susan. Also, Miss Phyllis wanted to give a big shout out to Cinda Crutchley, Miss Cinda Crutchley, who's celebrating a birthday today as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be these days. It may not be in an office, it may be at home, but wherever you are, we want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman there. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Phone lines are always open, and there is always someone there waiting to take your call. Back at work with us, even before the time that she was actually scheduled to be back, is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord@candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261. You can leave us a text message or send us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, if you just want to follow us, then follow us on YouTube. And you do that simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. As you are aware, based on the important and decisions and the necessary decisions that the government has had to take, many people will be at home, either working from their homes or they're not functioning in particular occupations because of the shelter-in-place situation that has been, conditions that have been imposed by the government necessarily, as well. So on the show this morning, we're going to talk about those conditions that have been placed. We want to share with you all of the news, despite the fact that Radio Cayman does carry the press briefings live. But for those of you who may not have had the opportunity to listen to it or to watch it, we're going to share that information with you as well. Also, because of the individual who we have in the studio with us this morning, who has certainly wide experience in the medical field as well, we're going to tap into his expertise, get his views, not only as a politician, but also as a practitioner in the health field as well. None other than MLA Mr. Ezard Miller. And we, some people may question, well, why they continue to have a talk show. We believe it is extremely important that you have an outlet to voice your concerns, but at the same time, for us to continue to give you relevant, important, and sometimes life-saving information to pass that on to you as well. And we're going to try to focus the show around the sharing of information, passing of information, whether it be information centered locally or information coming from other jurisdictions in terms of how they're coping, what they're doing as far as the COVID-19 situation is concerned. So without any further ado, Mr. Miller, good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to the listening public. And yes, I agree with you that I think it is important to continue the talk shows. And let me say up front that I want to congratulate the government on their daily press briefings. I think they're extremely helpful. I think it gives the public confidence in what the government is trying to achieve. And I guess I could sum it up this way. The only thing the world has to counter the spread of COVID-19 is shelter in place and social distancing. We don't have enough vaccines. If you watch the news report, they're saying that those are months away, if not a year plus away. We don't have any specialized treatment other than the normal stuff that we would do and to help people, to assist people with breathing, with ventilators, with oxygen, etc. Once you get to that level. Yes. It is concerning from my point of view and somewhat disappointing to hear the frustrations in the Premier's voice yesterday in terms of the pushback from the private sector against shelter in place and social distancing. We need to recognize and we need to accept that that is all we have. We don't have anything else that we can do. And me doing it protects Ezra Miller. It protects my loved ones, my immediate family in my household. It protects OC and it protects the wider community. And what the government is asking each and every one of us to do is to practice social distancing that has been extended from 3 feet to 6 feet and to shelter in place. And there's nothing else we can do. And people, you have to admit that it has been effective. I mean, we've only had, what's it, a total of 5 cases since the one that came off the ship that was diagnosed. Right. 4 at Health City
and one at
HSC.
At
Georgetown Hospital. Yes. The one at Georgetown Hospital is believed to be the first evidence of community spread, in that the experts have not been able to identify any history of travel with that person, and we don't know what the extensive investigation at the household took. That has not been reported to the public yet.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have to accept that it is working. So let's do it. I mean, when you see places like London, New York, Paris, San Francisco shut down, right? What are we so concerned about? I mean, I find it very difficult to appreciate, much less accept, that some people in the financial industry are of the view that their overseas clientele and therefore the income so produced is more important than telling their staff to stay home.
Yeah.
Not only the staff, they themselves need, and the staff needs to be given the opportunity to protect themselves and their family. So I am full support with what the government is doing. I'm encouraging. I mean, we have our little senior citizen group in Northside. We're doing our best to myself and my wonderful assistant, Ms. Carol Sands, who's doing a great job. We're trying to make sure they can stay inside, and we will go and look after them as much as we can.
Okay. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. Persons may be hearing an echo or something. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, solve that problem, and we will be back as soon as we take that commercial break. We will be back. So folks, please stay tuned. Don't change that dial. Lots of information to share with you this morning.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the historical vignette series, The Cayman Islands. He hath founded it upon the seas.
Nesta Alexandria Ebanks, 1901 through 1997. Miss Nesta, or Aunt Nettie as her relatives and neighbors called her, was involved in the religious and social life of her community from an early age. She had many talents. She wrote debates and composed poems, one of which was set to music and is still sung in church. She held high office in various organizations. She visited the sick and shut-in. When there were no satin-lined caskets available, she used the traditional methods of pinking the sheet, making beautiful coverings for the coffins, designed with just scissors. She taught classes of mathematics and English to neighbors and friends when there were few schools. Although she never married, she single-handedly raised one of her grandnieces whose mother died in childbirth. She was also a nurse and invented various medicines.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
I remember playing at 7 Mile Beach as a boy, eating mango by the sea, learning how to snorkel. My mother, she worked so hard to provide for our family so that we could have those moments. Seeing her age has been tough. A strong, capable woman, now in need of daily support, it's my time to be strong for her.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA, Mr. Ezra Miller. As I said earlier, the focus of the show, we really want to hammer home what is happening in the Cayman Islands in relation to the coronavirus spread. And at the same time, we want to tap in to Mr. Miller's expertise in the health field as well. What I'd like to do at this point in time is just to give you a rundown of what was covered in yesterday's press briefing and the highlights of that. One positive test result potentially confirming community spread. All precautionary protocols, including isolation of loved ones and persons who came into contact with the persons, are now in effect. A mandatory curfew came into effect last night, the 24th of March, from 7 p.m. until 5 a.m. I think that it may have erroneously been pointed out earlier that it was from 7 until 6, but it was changed later on, and so the curfew is from 7 p.m. until 5 a.m. and that started yesterday evening, and it runs until the 3rd of April. Non-essential persons flouting the curfew will be punished to the full extent of the law. All public transport was shut down as of yesterday. Private taxis would continue with no more than 2 passengers at any one time, so that each passenger is able to distance him or herself as far as possible from the other passenger and the driver as well. So those are, some of the highlights. In terms of the cases, Dr. John Lee pointed out that 14 additional cases had tested negative. Results are expected from CARFA laboratory, the laboratory today. Total confirmed cases in the Cayman Islands now 6, and that includes 1 death. And he also pointed out that the new test case is a patient from the Health Services Authority that you heard Mr. Miller speak about as well. Then the medical officer for health, Dr. Samuel Williams Rodriguez, and CEO of the Health Services Authority, Ms. Lizette Yearwood, pointed out that additionally, 8 family members of the patient and 14 staff members of the Health Services Authority who may have contact with the person who tested positive at the HSA, and they are in home isolation. They also pointed out that the patient is still currently non-symptomatic for COVID-19 and that the person has no travel history as well. And this is the part that we're going to talk about now as well. The Premier announced that government has been overwhelmed by requests for shelter-in-place exemptions, and it would be pointless for government to proceed if all these orders were granted that they have received requests for. He pointed out that everyone is concerned about the economic consequences of the order that the government is about to make, and that the government is also concerned about the economic consequences, but the economic consequences can never, and he repeated, can never be more important than lives. And one of my listeners, frequent listener to the show, asked whether or not, sent me a WhatsApp message and said, will you ask the government to publish all the emails going to essentials@gov.ky in relation to those exemptions? I would imagine at the end of the day, the question would be whether they should be named and shamed. Person also wanted to ask whether or not the government or to ask the government to cease all sales of alcohol and tobacco products. That one, I think, will be a little bit more complicated because despite the fact that there are some people who have who are against the consumption of alcohol and smoking of tobacco, there are people who still do it irrespective of the negative consequences, from it. And to a certain extent, do you want to deny them that right? But Mr. Miller, your comments on some of these points as well.
One of the things that I'm a little concerned about, and again, I don't want this is not intended to be a criticism, because I think it is reasonable. As I understand it, we had in the beginning somewhere some 400 plus test kits available with the machine. So therefore, in a population of 60,000 to 70,000 people, now down to about 6,000 to 4,000 maybe, that is very minuscule in comparison to. So what the government and the health professionals have adopted in that they're doing a symptomatic diagnosis based on a criteria of symptoms before a test is applied. I would like to know, and I would encourage the government to make every effort to procure more test kits. As I understand it, we were told in the beginning that in addition to that 400, we had been promised another 400 from World Health Organization, probably through PAHO in Jamaica. We keep hearing about the UK support. I've seen in the news media where there's a company in the UK that are pretty close to finalizing the development of almost an instant test, work similar to a pregnancy test, a couple of drops of blood and stuff like that, and color changes. I think we need to have more test kits available just in case we don't succeed, as we're all hoping and praying that we will, that the shelter in place and the social distancing, which I think it is fair to say has been working, because there's now 20 plus days since the original case came off the ship. So given an incubation period of 14 days or up to 21 days, we've only had 5 cases come out and test positive. And it looks like we've done somewhere in the region between 50 or 60 tests, right? And only 6 of them were positive. That I think it can be argued that the social distancing and the government, and I encourage the government today to introduce and to put in place the shelter-in-place rule, irrespective of the pushback for the businesses.
Yes, yeah.
I agree with the Premier that a couple of dollars, how do you put a price on a life?
Yes.
And while you may think it's alarming, the statistics put out by the Minister of Health yesterday in a press conference, where they gave the statistical modeling for Cayman. We're looking to save in the region of 800 lives.
Yes,
that's not, and it could be me, it could be you.
Yes,
because we look at the situation in New York, and we see that more than 50% of their people who have tested positive now are below 44 years old. So whether that means that somehow this virus has mutated in order to overcome whatever resistance the young people had in terms of a more powerful immune system is worrying.
Yeah.
And we just need to accept the advice from the health professionals and hunker down, shelter in place, remain confident. Let me say a little bit about washing hands again.
Sure. Go right ahead.
Again, we're not talking about just passing your fingers under the top. Most of you have watched various medical shows, right, during your lifetime, and you see how the surgeons scrub, right? I am of the view that the hand washing should come up to your elbows, right? And you should also include your face. I think it is time that we should also wash. I try to, every time I wash my hands, I try to do it up to my elbows, and I also try to wash my face with soap, not just the water, with the soap as well, because I think it's important.
Yeah. Now, when we come back from the 8 o'clock news, we want to talk about the testing and the test kits, because the UK Minister for the Overseas Territories had a conversation with all of the leaders and promised assistance to all of the overseas territories. When you look at Platinum News in British Virgin Islands, one of their newspapers there, they have an article in there, UK to provide COVID-19 test kits. That was on yesterday, that was published. And it says that this talks about the sourcing, difficult to source and everything, but the UK is, using their best efforts to do that. I think while the government and the panel in the news press briefings have been quite upfront with the public in terms of what they're saying, I think more needs to be said about the test kits, where they are. Let people know exactly what's happening with them, because if you have to take another route, which we have had to take in terms of the shelter in place to stem it because of one of the issues, which is the inability, to test or not having sufficient tests. My belief, in that regard, that it is important then to let the people know exactly what the position is as far as the procurement of additional test kits. 8 o'clock news, folks, please stay tuned for the record with MLA. Mr. Ezra Miller will continue after the 8 o'clock news.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Value Med Pharmacy is your community care partner for health and wellness needs. We offer convenient prescription processing at the counter and online at value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com, with pickup available at the Walkers Road or Boddentown location. We also accept transfer prescriptions from other pharmacies. More than just a pharmacy, shop Value Med for personal care and beauty products from trusted brands, perfume and gift sets, Hallmark and greeting cards, baby clothes, footwear, handbags, swimwear, home decor, toys, school supplies, and stationery. And home convalescence aids like wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, and hospital beds. With 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and in Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Cayman Islands is transitioning to level 4 in its pandemic response.
The vast majority of services in this building will be shut down. The vast majority of the civil service will be shut down. Our continuity of operations has been working well over the past few weeks, but now, as the Premier said, unless you're absolutely needed, we want you to stay home.
Starting today, all non-essential civil servants are required to work from home, shelter in place, and not return to the workplace until at least Monday, April 6th. Deputy Governor the Honourable Franz Manderson is encouraging every civil servant who is not an essential worker to finalize the necessary arrangements to allow them to work remotely, quote, as a matter of urgency. He says if you are not essential staff and you're not able to continue to deliver your work due to the nature of your job, you are encouraged to have a discussion with your line manager regarding your availability to be redeployed to help address some of the capacity gaps government is anticipating with the projected increased demands on essential services. The following have been identified as essential services at this time: police, fire, prison, Coast Guard, Needs Assessment Unit, Department of Children and Family Services, Department of Environmental Health, Department of Vehicle and Equipment Services, Computer Services, Facilities Management, Customs and Border Control, Mosquito Research and Control Unit, Department of Public Safety Communications, Judicial Administration, Office of Public Prosecutions, Attorney General's Office, Department of Environment, staff of Treasury, Cash Management Unit and Payroll, Cabinet Office, Office of the Premier, Government Information Services and Radio Cayman, and members of the National Emergency Operations Center. For the most up-to-date information, make sure to visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Government is looking for shelter volunteers for the students who are being isolated after returning from overseas last week. Civil servants are being invited to register by speaking with their heads of department or chief officer. Volunteers will not be required to have direct contact with students. The pool is short of volunteers, so government says the extra manpower would be, quote, greatly beneficial. For more information, call 244-7205. And in other news, 2 men are facing charges under the National Conservation Law after being busted by officers with the Department of Environment. On March 1st, conservation officers stopped 2 men as they came ashore in the Prospect Point area. They each had an unlicensed spear gun and a bag of marine life in their possession. Officers confiscated more than 70 fish and 3 undersized lobsters, as well as 2 spear guns and snorkel gear. The pair will be charged for several breaches of the National Conservation Law when they appear in court. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne, has tested positive for COVID-19. The royal, who's 71, remains in good health, say palace officials. US Senate leaders and the White House have agreed a $2 trillion economic stimulus package to tackle the coronavirus outbreak. It would include payments of $1,200 to most American adults and aid to help small businesses pay workers. The US Senate Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell described it as a wartime level of investment. In China, Hubei province is emerging from months of lockdown by resuming transport links with the rest of the country. Chinese television showed images of residents cheering as roadblocks came down. Spain has now recorded more coronavirus deaths than China, the cradle of the pandemic. Madrid says 738 people with the virus had died in the past day, taking the total to more than 3,400. That's 153 more than in China, second only to Italy. The Syrian opposition says coronavirus testing has started in rebel-held areas in the northwest of the country. It says it's received 300 testing kits from the World Health Organization and has started using them in Idlib. Long queues and scarce supplies are reported in India as hundreds of millions across the country enter a 3-week lockdown. Panic buying broke out in a number of major Indian cities, including Delhi. Doctors in Zimbabwe are refusing to return to work until they can access protective clothing while on duty due to coronavirus fears. They say hospitals across the country don't have any protective equipment, leaving doctors and their families exposed to the virus. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Value Med Pharmacy, with 2 locations to serve you, Walkers Road in Georgetown and an Evron Plaza, Boddentown. Visit Value Med, more than just a pharmacy. Did you know that Value Med Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with Value Med. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. Value Med on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
At Canine Resort and Spa, your dog gets the red carpet treatment. That's why people trust us and pets love us. Offering doggy daycare, boarding, training, and grooming services for any breed, size, or style. From head to tail, we'll make your dog smile.
Choose from 4 grooming packages, from the basic bronze package of a hydrobath, shampoo and conditioner, wash and blowout, to the platinum package including spa services like a doggy massage and berry facial. Canine will help your pet look picture perfect. Receive a loyalty card where your 6th grooming package is free. Limited availability.
Visit canineresort.com for details on grooming packages, doggy daycare, and resort services. Canine Resort and Spa, where the posh dogs go. This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Home isolation means staying indoors and completely avoiding contact with other people. You need to do this if you have symptoms of COVID-19. If you are practicing home isolation, you should stay in a well-ventilated room with a window to outside that can be opened separate from other people in your home. Keep the door closed and use a separate bathroom from the rest of the household, if available. If you have to share these facilities, regular sterilization will be required. Consider drawing up a bathroom schedule for washing or bathing and have the isolated person using the facilities last.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus. The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Super Stitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Super Stitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Superstitch Sewing and Fabric Center was a proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Superstitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
New stock has just arrived at Superstitch. Now don't take my word for it, drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Superstitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Superstitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Bring a little bit of luck to your house with Lucky Slice from America. Burgers, steak, and the all-day American breakfast. From Europe, fish and chips, pizza and crepes. And from Asia, sushi.
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, 7 days a week, delivery or pickup, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. In these difficult times, we can all use a little bit of luck. Keep calm and stay lucky.
Minimize contact. Make your credit card payment by phone. Pay only for food. No delivery fee. No service charge. Certain restrictions apply. Call Lucky Slice Pizza to place your delivery order now. 949-3456.
Order from K-Man Creperie, Mojo Sushi, and Lucky Slice Pizza. Call 949-3456.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of the Business Buzz is brought to you by Count on Us Cayman Limited, offering bookkeeping services, property management, customs brokerage, and Cayman auto and tech services. For more information, call them on 623-6941 or 323-3995 or email info@countonuscaymanlimited.com.
The Cayman Islands government would like to remind the public that e-services are available for vehicle license renewal, trade and business licensing, police clearance, and other transactions. Skip the line and apply online. E-services are user-friendly, efficient, and most important, you can apply and pay from the comfort of your home. Visit eservices.gov.ky.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
You know what goes perfect with tuna? Bacon. That's why Subway's adding bacon to our delicious tuna sandwich. It's the Tuna BLT. At just 540 calories for a 6-inch, you'll love this mouth-watering combination of flavors. Subway's tasty tuna sandwich is simply sumptuous on its own, but add bacon and it's out of this world delicious. After all, bacon and tuna are perfect together. Stop by any of Subway's 7 locations today and get the Tuna BLT. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Self-isolation is an effective precautionary measure to protect those around you, your family, friends, and colleagues from contracting COVID-19. You or the person you are caring for should remain in your home except for getting medical care. Do not go to work, school, or public areas, and do not use buses or taxis until you have been told by the Public Health Department that it is safe to do so. You will need to ask for help if you require groceries, other shopping, or medications. Please seek the advice from the Public Health Department.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning MLA Mr. Ezra Miller. As I said earlier, we want to use this platform this morning to keep you informed about the COVID-19 situation in the Cayman Islands, government decisions, and what you really need to know as well. So before I go to the phone lines, I just want to point out to you other information that was brought out in the press briefing yesterday. As of today, the government would confirm all non-essential businesses that will be closed, and all non-essential workers should stay home. They did at that point in time provide a list of the companies that are entities whose employees may be required to work during the curfew and that would be exempted. They pointed out that they should have company IDs and a letter from the company confirming the need for them to work during the hours of curfew. And the government is going to look at that list again today to see those that may have been missed, as well. The governor also pointed out that government has encouraged the vast majority of workers of Cayman's workplace to stay at home. The civil service has shut down large parts of its operations, and those allowed to work from home to comply with the government's required actions, as well. So, and they also pointed out that there's a travel hotline that has been established. That travel hotline, the number is 244-3333, and that's established for those persons needing to travel for emergency or compassionate reasons only as well. So let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, and good morning to your guest, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, Madam Speaker.
In there, that beside Mr. Miller, or just Mr. Miller?
Just the two of us, like the song says.
Yeah. We'll be keeping our social distance too. We're not allowing anybody else in. 6 foot.
Well, this morning when I got up and I watched the sunrise, I thought to myself how blessed we are to see another day, and so many of us are still on our feet and still in good health. I listened to the premier's, the press briefing yesterday, and I saw the frustration on the premier's face as he tried to grapple with the fact that there are people in our community who don't want to fall in line. I listened to the news this morning. Prince Charles has tested positive. That's the heir to the throne. The Queen and her family, the Queen and her husband, has been taken to Windsor Castle in the hopes to isolate them from it. This COVID-19 is not a respecter of persons. We have to understand that. We can protect one segment of the society, but it is not going to work unless everybody falls in line, does their part, so the whole society can remain safe. We have to understand that no matter how much money you have in this time that we're living in, you can't buy testing kits. You can't buy all the medical equipment your medical staff needs. You can't buy the things that can protect them and in turn protect us. Money cannot do it now. It takes us pulling together. The shelter in place, or whatever term you want to use for the stay-at-home order that has been given, should be respected by all. And I wanted to remind us of some history, because you know I like history.
Oh,
We
yes.
went through the Ivan hurricane. I don't know why everybody thinks this is so new. We have battled crises before. We went through the Ivan hurricane, in which this country was devastated. All the homes, the rich, the famous, the wealthy, the poor, the distressed, they were destroyed or they were damaged. We flew people out of this country by the thousands. And we stayed here with the heat and the mosquitoes and all the rest of it to rebuild this country. It is to our everlasting credit that there was not even one single health issue, no waterborne diseases, none of these things that invade other countries when you reach a crisis like this. It was because we took and we did what was necessary. We closed the door. I can still remember the difficulty my son had getting home to me to help me put the roof on my house, because we closed the door and we said, stay out until we get this thing put together. We rebuilt this country. And the people who came back in here, 140 nationalities, welcomed on our doorstep, should be grateful this morning that they are living in the Cayman Islands. I don't care what their financial status is. I don't care what their business status is. They should be grateful they are living in the Cayman Islands. Because when you look at the world today, there is no place for us to airlift them to now. The borders are closed. There is no place to airlift them to now. There is no, every country in the world is having to make an economic sacrifice. And even while they're doing that, their people are dying by the hundreds. We do not need that in Cayman. Everybody has to pull together. And if whatever edict it takes for the premier to put in place, the people need to support it. We have, now we're not like we were at Hurricane with a tarp roof or out under the street, which didn't have any leaves on it. We are inside our homes. We're safe. We have water. We have electricity. We have all the food that we can eat. And if we don't have it, somebody's going to provide it for us. We are safe in our own homes. It is time to realize and be grateful for what we have and to pull together. And like I said, whatever it takes to get this message across to people, so be it. This is no time to play games. We already had, 200 testing kits, but look at the many people we have to test. You know, just it only takes one. We know now it's Scotland takes 700. It only takes one person. Just 8 person infect 8 persons, and those 8 persons infect 8 persons each more. That's how it moves. And look at the numbers in New York.
Yes.
100,000. It took almost a month to reach that mark. The next 100,000, 11 days. The next 100,000, 4 days. This is a wave of a magnitude just because we can't see it and we might not understand it. This is a wave that is going to take us all down if we do not follow the rules that are being set.
Yes.
And I am sorry, everybody in this country, I don't care where you are from. You are here because this country is a good country to live in. This country is a good country to operate your business from. This country is a safe country. This country is a stable country. And you are here at our invitation, and you have been welcomed here. And I don't care whether you got status or you don't have status. I don't care whether you're Caymanian born or you're non-Caymanian born. This country can only survive this crisis if we all put our shoulders to the wheel and do what has to be done. And it is very little required of us. Everybody else is out there. The frontline people are out there. Why should somebody have to patrol? We have an order in place. we had an order in place in after the Ivan hurricane.
Shelter in place, yeah.
From 6 o'clock in the evening, and we didn't have helicopters to go around to look to see if we were doing what we were supposed to do, because we knew that we had to do it.
Yes.
We had to survive. And this is the only way it can be done, and we should not have to be wasting good, valuable personnel out there trying to make us do what we know we should be doing. But being pushed and pummeled into doing it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
It's time to remember that, and it's time for every one of us. God bless the Premier and all his government and all the government, the members of the opposition, everybody who's out there, the frontline people, the doctors, the nurses, everybody, the garbage collectors, everybody. We need to remember that every life is important, and the life that you save in this time, I hear you say that all the time about the road, the life you save today might be your own.
Yep.
And your family member.
Yep. And you can't put a monetary value to any one life.
We can rebuild the country, but we can't bring that life back.
Yes.
We can rebuild the country. We've done it before. We know we can do it. We know we can do it.
Yep.
We know how it has to be done, and we're going to have a lot of company doing that because the whole world out there is in the same boat.
Same boat. Yep. Madam Speaker, thank you very much for that. We're going to try to see if we can grab another caller before we go to our next commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Orrett Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, and good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, can you all remember what year the hospital was built?
Which one?
The present public hospital.
Well, it was built in the original one was built in the early 70s. It was remodeled in the 70s, and it was remodeled again in the 90s. The one we have now was completed in the 90s.
Okay. And what was the population in Cayman then?
40,000.
Yeah,
maybe.
Probably around in between 40,000, I would say, yeah.
Okay. And with this situation we're now facing, with this coronavirus and an increase in population, and not knowing how long the situation with the coronavirus will last, and there's a great possibility that something such as this can occur again in life. So I think it's time for the government to start making plans on building a new hospital. And there have been concerns about the hospital where it is in the path of airplanes landing. So the government needs to make plans on building a new hospital. It's going to be needed in the future, so it's not going to be a waste of time or money. And right now, if anyone goes to private hospitals for any serious concern when it comes to this coronavirus, a lot of these private doctors are not seeing anyone. And when people go to the public hospitals and having to be crowded in such a small space, and majority of people can tell you, sometimes you are there waiting for 2 to 3 hours to see the doctor.
I think because of this situation that they have changed their protocols and their procedures in terms of when you get there, what you do, where you go, the distancing and stuff like that as well. So they've made some adjustments. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, also there are concerns about the doctors or the staff members having it. So I think they should be tested a lot in order to make sure that they do not have it. And when we say that we have 6 people that might be known now to have it, they're saying that one person that has it, most of the time will give it to 2 other people without even knowing that they have it. And that's how this thing is spreading. So if we have 6 people who have it, and you times that by 3, that means we probably, and I'm not scared, I'm hearing people that means we might have 18 people that have this. And if we have 18 people that have this and you times that by 3, that means we could be up to 54 people having this on the island without knowing it.
And that is why the procedures that the government has put in place, shelter in place, and all those things will help to avoid that happening or to minimize it.
Yes, and right now the law in Russia is if you're 65 years or older, you have to stay home. And I think it's time now, before this thing spreads anymore, I think it's time now for us to do what Italy has done and put this island on a total lockdown.
Well, we're almost there. The shelter-in-place situation, we're almost there, and it is quite clear that the government's resolve is that they will do whatever is necessary.
Well, before it gets to that situation, it's better for us to put everyone on lockdown from now.
Okay, got you.
Because as President Trump says, it's a silent killer.
You don't want to listen to him too much, though, Don't quote him too often.
Don't listen to him too much, but that's true what he said. And remember now, Prince Charles now has it.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. We have another caller on hold, but we have to take a commercial break. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed from Wednesday the 25th of March for 10 days, or until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all-clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Home isolation means staying indoors and completely avoiding contact with other people. You need to do this if you have symptoms of COVID-19. If you are practicing home isolation, you should stay in a well-ventilated room with a window to outside that can be opened separate from other people in your home. Keep the door closed and use a separate bathroom from the rest of the household, if available. If you have to share these facilities, regular sterilization will be required. Consider drawing up a bathroom schedule for washing or bathing and have the isolated person using the facilities last.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Ezra Miller. Mr. Miller.
Yeah, in response to the caller, the last caller, I think it is important to understand, and I believe, and I think that the health professionals dealing with these cases have earned my respect, in that if it was as widespread as he believes it is, those people would have to be turning up at health facilities with symptoms, because it is not, while the symptoms may be similar in some respects to the normal influenza, I think the shortness of breath and the other things that go along with it makes it clear that those people would be seeking medical help if they was out there. So I believe that we can have a certain confidence. Listen, I agree. And if we had 100,000 tests, right, in stockpile, or even 10,000 in stockpile, the ideal situation would be to be doing community sampling in addition to symptomatic diagnosis. But we don't have the test to do that. So we have to respect the decision taking by the public health that, look, we are only going to test when we are fairly certain that the person is demonstrating all of the symptoms that make us believe that this is a case that need to be tested. And I think that given the worldwide shortage of test kits and everything else, I think that we're handling it reasonably well. And I think that the social distancing, I think, is helping. I believe that, and I encourage the Premier, and I will publicly state that he has my support to put in place today the shelter in place. And I say to Caymanians who are being asked to come to work, unless you are in an essential service, do not go to work. We will have to, the government will have to address those employers who try to take advantage or punish people for obeying government regulations. And there are ways to deal with that. You know, one of the things that as I try to say, encourage employers, I think employers need to investigate what the living conditions are of the people they have on permit, because remember, every one of us who has a permit completed an accommodation sheet for that person, and we gave certain commitments of where the person was living.
Yes.
And it is not possible to have proper social distancing if you got 9 people in a one-bedroom house, or 2-bedroom house.
And
right?
they're not related.
And then, you know, and especially if they're going out, being forced to go to work because they're on a permit, and interacting with other people and constantly changing the environment that they're in, even though they're practicing the social distancing. So I think that we need to, I believe, accept that the regulations and the restrictions that the government are putting in place are reasonable, they are practical. Are there going to be some bad economic effects? Yes, but we can deal with those down the road.
And they will work if people follow what
I mean,
instructions
listen, it won't work if 20 people decide my business is more important and I'm going to work. And I'm going out there, and then they spread it, not because this is as the leader of the opposition often says, don't rejoice because the hole in the boat that you're in is in the other end, because eventually the boat can get full up. And here we have a situation where we mustn't take any confidence in the fact that there is some other district where the virus is, because if we don't practice social distancing, we don't practice shelter in place, it's going to come your way. I mean, this is proven time and time again, that and we have to respect that is the only antidote we have right now, is social distancing and sheltering in place.
Okay. We have 3 callers. Let's take the first caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning.
Hello.
Go right ahead, caller.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning.
I just want to know what the government is doing to help the private sectors with this situation.
But I am not aware that the government has made final decisions on that. I think the Premier has made it clear that they are in discussions with things that can be done, and the government has done a lot, i.e. we have made it easier for people to get access to NAU. They've ramped up the services that NAU provided. They have given one-time payments to people who are in a vulnerable situation of unemployment or may have had their thing terminated. But I think that the business community have to accept that we're all in this together, and they have to take some responsibility to continue to provide salaries and payments for people, and hopefully we can get, once we overcome and we get this curve flattened, or the curve here in Cayman remains flat, because that's what we're trying to do. We're not in a situation of New York where we're trying to flatten the curve. We're trying to keep it flat.
Yes,
we don't want it to bump out at all.
Yeah.
Then I think down the road the government may have to look at some kind of relief to assist the private sector, but only those who have in fact provided for their employees.
Right. And caller, did you have any particular segment of the private sector that you in mind?
Well, it depends on how long that we are going to be kept locked down, because maybe some private sectors can't afford to keep paying us that much salary while we're home. And that's another problem.
Well, I mean, and the government itself has limited resources, so I think one of the things that all of this calls for is that we all have to be frugal, right? We all have to be
creative,
have to understand, right? Have to understand that all of us are required to make a concerted effort to succeed in this battle against the COVID-19. And we may have to go back to eating corned beef instead of eating steaks, right? But we have to make some adjustments in our lifestyle if that's what...
And some sacrifices
sacrifices.
Yeah.
But it's all in it together.
Then one last question.
Okay.
The current now, where people can't afford to pay the current, what's going to happen about that?
Well, I understand from the government press releases, and I would assume that it also works for Brack, Power and Light, although they were not specifically identified at the press conference. But CUC has said they're not going to cut off anybody.
Yeah,
during the crisis.
I believe I have something from CUC. I'll try to find that release and share it with you and the listening audience as well, caller.
I think all utilities have agreed with the government not to terminate service to anybody.
Yeah.
Whether that's water, electricity. I think it may be even included in the telephone business, and so that we can keep communicating with people.
Yeah. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. Can we take another caller before the break, Miss Susan? We're going to take a break. We still have a couple of callers on hold. Short commercial break. When we return, we will take your calls. So please stay tuned. Don't change that dial.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS Brack Agency in Cayman Brack. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Home isolation means staying indoors and completely avoiding contact with other people. You need to do this if you have symptoms of COVID-19. If you are practicing home isolation, you should stay in a well-ventilated room with a window to outside that can be opened separate from other people in your home. Keep the door closed and use a separate bathroom from the rest of the household, if available. If you have to share these facilities, regular sterilization will be required. Consider drawing up a bathroom schedule for washing or bathing and have the isolated person using the facilities last.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Ezra Miller. We have a caller going straight to the phone line. Two callers, actually. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Yes, go right ahead, caller.
Yeah, how are you guys doing?
Fine, sir. And yourself?
Fine, thanks. I'm trying to confirm if this virus is airborne.
All the medical evidence that I have, all the scientific evidence I have seen suggests that it is not. It is only transmitted in droplets. That is why the 6-foot distance work, because most of us, if we cough, we can't project the liquid beyond 6 feet.
Okay. No, I'm trying to make sense out of nonsense, I guess, for the want of a better word. Just over the last weekend, there was something passed around, like over the internet, about something was happening in Cayman. Like they had 5 helicopters was going to spray, and you had to have your
unfortunately
fake news.
That's all internet. And again, I would encourage people not to pay attention to Facebook posts, Instagram posts, those kind of social communications. Look to the medical professionals as your source of what's going on and what's being done. To the government's credit, they're having a press conference every day and they're dealing with the information up to date. I encourage the public to ignore all else that is not a repetition of what the government is putting out.
Well, why I'm saying that, though, because if you watch the news in other countries, you see them got these foggers going all through the towns and all over the place, just fogging the place. So I'm saying, if that is the case, why are they using these foggers if it's just
because the droplets it has been said that I think on the cruise ship they found the virus in droplets up to 17 days afterwards, and most of the countries that you see that they're spraying and stuff like that are where they have massive community transfer.
Yeah, no, well, I send it into town, not just on cruise ships. What I want to say is this. If we can have, foggers spraying for mosquitoes and so on, is it anything wrong with getting some kind of a disinfectant or something and then just at least go through the areas? I mean, if you kill 10 of these viruses, I guess it's well worth it. So it's just something that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
That I'm really confused. I appreciate and respect what you're saying about not airborne, but when I look at these things and see all of these foggers going through the cities and all, it makes me think, well, if it's not airborne, why are these guys going out in open places and spraying trees and everything else? So it's something that I think we might want to.
They may be spraying the surfaces rather than the air itself, the surfaces.
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's my little piece, but I think
it's important for you to bring those things to
I don't
attention.
think that. I am not aware that there is an antiviral currently available against this COVID-19, which we could employ on that kind of scale. I mean, I will tell you that hard surfaces and stuff, the best thing to clean them is Clorox and water, right?
Wiping.
Right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
I don't know that... And we're not, thankfully, we are not yet at the stage where we have massive community transfer of this, where there's likely to be droplets all over the place and stuff like that have coronavirus in it. So maybe we're not reached that stage yet.
Thank you very much, caller, for that.
But I understand your concerns.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, caller. Before we go to the next caller, I just want to, the caller before the last one there, in relation to CUC. CUC issued a press release yesterday, and in relation to, it reads, amongst other things, with respect to customer bills, we announced a week ago that disconnections would be suspended for March and that credit extensions would be given to customers who found themselves unable to pay because of loss of income due to the crisis. We are extending the suspension period to include April to allow time for all customers who require assistance to contact us. The customer bulletin available via a link which they gave you gives more details as to customer assistance. So that link is www.cuc/cayman.com and /customer service online /COVID-19. I believe if you basically just Google www.cuc/cayman.com, that you will be able to access there. But there's a way for you to communicate with CUC as well. But they have also pointed out that the suspension, they have extended the suspension period to include April as well. So not only is March covered, but April is covered also. Let's grab another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, ma'am.
I am very concerned about. Okay, let me slow down one little bit. Mr. Miller and Mr. O.C., I'm becoming now like a broken record when I'm talking about the lupus.
Mm-hmm. So you haven't really gotten an answer, a satisfactory answer yet from all of the persons that you have queried in relation to that situation?
Mr. O.C.?
Mm-hmm.
My big concern is when I was talking about it that Dr. John Lee can say the reason why when they are mentioning all the other problems like heart and diabetes and all them other stuff they're not mentioning lupus. So when I was talking with him, I can't remember which day that was now.
Monday.
That
I believe.
Monday?
I believe it might have been Monday.
Okay, here you know. He can say to me the reason why is because of the numbers of the patients with lupus. And I said to him, sir, I told him that I'm a lupus patient. Mm-hmm. And I'm 69 years old. Just on Wednesday gone here, and I was 69 years old.
But didn't he give a commitment then that he would make sure that he included lupus in it?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay,
no, sir.
Okay.
And the reason, and I also said, it's not only on Radio Cayman that I've been mentioning lupus. People have been asking me and talking to me concerning their symptoms. And so they said, okay, when they go to a doctor for the joint pains, they are told that they have arthritis. And I said to them, what else? Okay? And they tell me different things. I say, yes, all of those things are symptoms of the lupus. But I also let Dr. John Lee know that, okay, what happened now is that we got lots of people out here that have the lupus, but they need to be tested for it. And I also said that a few weeks ago, we lost a young man in the age of just over 20 with lupus. Are you hearing me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are.
And that is my big concern. Because with me having it for, I can tell you the time now, 41 years, 6 months, and today is what, the 25th, 3 days. 41 years, 6 months, and 3 days. And mine was because mine came through a blood transfusion when my son was 3 days old. And then it made me hemorrhage and that. Long story that is, but I'm working on that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, caller, for that. We have another caller that we can grab before. No callers. One of our listeners has pointed out. Says, morning, Centers for Disease Control confirm it's airborne. Also yesterday, they announced that studies have shown that it is airborne. And they're referring to is that at our press conference here, that they said it was airborne as well. And it also says that the World Health Organization also issued a bulletin as well. We'll try to see if we can find more on that also. Hope I have enough time that I can read this WhatsApp message. It says, we have become aware that some private schools are maintaining the same level of school fees, although they have moved to online instruction. While we understand that there are overhead costs to cover such items as salaries for business continuity, there is bound to be a noticeable reduction in electricity costs. This is not fair, since parents have to bear an increase in electricity costs because of online home instructions to their children. Well, again, in this time of crisis, we would hope and we would trust that everyone would have some sort of a social conscience, as well as a financial one as well. And there would be some morality, within all of this, and small adjustments, should be made in that regard. What businesses, and I'm not a business person, but if I were a business person, my first and foremost, my position would be that my customers are the most important. And
after your staff.
And I worked, in New York at a department store. It was called Alexander's Department Store in New York, no longer in existence. But they always used to tell you the customer is always right.
Yeah.
Customer is always right. No matter, even if they're wrong, they're still, the customer is always right. Your customers are your most important, along with your employees, most important. So you have to ensure that you satisfy them. Compromise, so important. But we've reached the top of the hour, 9 o'clock news.
Just want to make one comment on the
sure.
West because of the lupus. I agree with her that lupus, but it also applies to any disease which compromises your immune system.
Okay.
Or lowers your immune defenses. Those people need to be given some priority if they get sick in terms of the treatment that they get and the consideration that they get in the symptomatic diagnosis, which may lead to testing.
Yep.
Because they are a higher risk if their immune system is already compromised in any way whatsoever.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, top of the hour, 9 o'clock news, headline news. Mm-hmm. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Starting today, Cayman is under a partial lockdown. Staying home saves lives is the latest message from government. The curfew is now in place from 7 p.m. until 5 a.m. daily for the next 10 days, and police say they will monitor the streets for curfew violators who will be arrested. The Prince of Wales has tested positive for coronavirus, according to Clarence House. The 71-year-old is displaying mild symptoms, but, quote, otherwise remains in good health, according to a spokesman, adding that the Duchess of Cornwall has been tested but does not have the virus. Charles and Camilla are now self-isolating. Buckingham Palace says the Queen last saw her son on March 12th, but was, quote, in good health. And a stimulus package worth more than $1.8 trillion has been agreed by U.S. senators in the White House to ease the impact of coronavirus. It reportedly includes payments of $1,200 to most American adults and aid to help small businesses pay workers. Full details of the deal, which Congress is expected to pass, are not known. Financial markets around the world rose on news of the deal. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS Brack Agency in Cayman Brack. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Ezra Miller.
Yes, sir. I want to make a brief comment on the person that was complaining about the cost of the school fees.
Yes, private schools. Yeah.
I think we need to understand that utilities is a small part of what the school fees are paid. They're paying for the teachers. And I'm not sure, I don't have any children in private school, but I want to congratulate and I want to support the teachers from Clifton High School and Aidan Mile Primary School. Those teachers are working as if they're in a classroom. I can tell you that both of my children, one is only 5 years old, right? But her teacher's communicating with her every day on phone, making sure she's doing her work. They leave work at the school for us to pick up, right? Clifton Hunter, again, it's the same thing. It's not a day you don't get a series of emails from the various subject teachers. So the teachers have to be congratulated. They have to be appreciated that they're trying to maintain the same level of education, because we don't know when school is going to start back. It is highly unlikely that it is going to start back on the 26th of April as currently planned, right? You notice in some places in the UK and other places, basically some of them are talking about for the rest of the year school not being in. So I think we have to appreciate that a lot of the school fees that are paid in the private sector for the private school goes to pay the teachers. And I would hope and I would assume, and if not, I'm calling on the Minister of Education to make sure that they do, that the private schools are doing just as much work with the students as if they were in a classroom, and that they're communicating as being done by the public schools. Because I can tell you that the public schools are doing a fantastic job.
And this is where the inspectorate would come into play as well in ensuring that also, yeah. One of our listeners wanted to know, can you please clarify if workers who are not essential workers should be at work for the next 10 days, or is this only after curfew hours?
Well, the only confusing part about that is the frustration demonstrated by the Premier in his press conference yesterday. They wanted to put it in place yesterday. Right? The shelter in place, which means that all services that are not deemed by the government to be essential services would be closed and nobody would be going to work.
Right.
Because of the pushback and the tremendous inundation they got with people wanting to be reclassified, because they're not classified now, wanting to be reclassified for their own purposes of making money to be an essential services. I think what the Premier and what the government was trying to do was to say that only essential services should be open, and they would only and people should only those workers would be allowed to be out in the curfew.
Yeah. And outside of curfew hours, what people also have to understand, unless you absolutely have to go on the roads and be out there, don't stay at home.
And I mean, to prevent the panic buying and all that, I think the government is making sure that our supply sources are being kept open, because we've seen that even the ports in Florida from which we import the majority of our stuff are open for freight and fuel, etc., although they're closed to cruise ships, right? So that they're maintaining that. They're encouraging the supermarkets to stay open, but we're asking people to practice the shelter in place. And only one person from the household needs to go to the supermarket, not everybody, right? And when you go there, practice the 6 foot social distancing. It's obvious from the lines outside that people are respecting that. That's the kind of thing we need to do.
Exactly. Yep. Now, yesterday, the Premier pointed out also that he had gotten a call from someone in relation to farmers, and the farmer pointed out to him, listen, if my worker can't come, unable to come to work, to travel, come to work, my cattle won't be fed, won't be watered, and they will end up dying, at the end of the day. So those are little things that I want to look at. I want to say from a personal standpoint, and that Harvey's Market on Anton Bawden Road in Bawden Town, I don't see that on the list. I don't know whether or not they requested it, but that's where I go, and I get my callaloo, and I get my papaya and things like that. Those places need to be open because, there are a lot of people who rely on the land and who don't like to eat processed foods, try to eat as many vegetables, and other things as possible.
But I think the Premier was trying to make it clear that even those essential services such as those are not allowed to open during the curfew.
Right, yeah. Right? Yes. But during regular
during
hours.
The day, right? And
yes.
Again, if you're going to one of those places, respect the social distancing. There's no need for everybody to be fighting over. There's only one papaya left. Well, the bird catches the worm, right? But we have to, and if we continue to practice the social distancing, because if we don't, and this thing starts to get out of hand, the government is going to find themselves in a situation where they're going to lock everything down 24/7.
Yes.
And what the government is trying to do is to get the effect of keeping our curve flat, right, without having to go to the absolute extreme of locking the country down 24/7.
Okay. This person has written and said, on the BRAC, can something be done about the fuel factor going up here in the BRAC? It's always going up, even if the price of fuel does not go up. And sometimes even when the fuel price goes down, the fuel for BRAC Power and Light Company is duty free. Now the fuel factor is 0.121. I think I got that right there. So what they're basically saying is, no matter what happens, the fuel factor either remains the same or goes up in the BRAC and for BRAC Power and Light. I don't know if BRAC Power and Light, if anyone is listening, if they have, if they can respond and explain what's happening there. 2 callers. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
O.C.?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a 2 minutes or so with Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller, when they can also talk about the kidneys and all this stuff, the concerning this virus, you know that it affects all the organs about the lupus. You know that, right? And the biggest organ is the skin. Like a knock on wood, Nicky, hear it now. Hear that there? I've only had the skin one, and that's many years back now. I was having rashes. But that's like past, because I know what I need to do, and about the immune system, I keep mine very good. The only thing about that, Cynical do want give me my money back.
Okay. We're working on that.
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
Baby.
All right. That's good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
I would like to ask Mr. Miller these few questions to answer these few questions for me.
Go right ahead, sir.
Number one is that I heard that they have some clinic operating at the hospital. Is that so?
Yeah, my understanding is that they have designated a particular area of the hospital as a flu clinic. And if you have flu symptoms, you're expected to go to that clinic. But they're also asking you, I think, to call up now first, right? Because we don't want that clinic itself to get overcrowded, where we can manage the social distancing as well. And if you go into the hospital for other reasons, those patients who are showing flu symptoms, which could possibly be COVID symptoms, are separated from the regular clinics, etc.
I have an appointment from about 2 months or more, or 2 months now, to see a special doctor, and today's the date down the 25th of that. So how that would work?
But I think if you have an appointment for a specialist clinic, I think you should still go and go directly to that to the specialist clinic's area. Okay. But it would also be to your advantage to call, because the specialist, if it's not a person who's locally, may not be on the island because of the suspension of air travel. So what I would do is call the HSA to find out, because you will know the information, and I wouldn't suggest you give it to me over here. Otherwise, I would make the call for it. But my recommendation would be to call the HSA, find out if that particular special is working, and confirm your appointment before you make the trip up.
What is that number, please?
949-8600.
Yeah, that's the switchboard number, 949-8600.
And they also, but the other hotline is for the flu symptoms and other one. But you should be able to get through on 8600.
Well, I find out it's a problem there, and I guess with me, I don't know if everybody, that they put you on hold, and you be holding there, waiting for them to come back to you, and it's long period go, and you have to dial back over again to see if you can get somebody to speak to. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's inexcusable. I don't, that should not happen,
But a lot of that's happening.
Yeah, but that would still be my recommendation, that if you can't get them on that line, then try the fuel line. I'm
trying to see if they on these releases.
Mr. Connor's looking for that number now. I don't have it to hand.
Yeah, I'll try to find that, and we will announce it on the air if there's additional hotlines that we can they can be reached on as well.
See, that is the breakdown communication. I guess it need to improve on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'll give you this commitment. I'll call the authorities at the HSA when I leave here and suggest that they need to man their 8600 line better.
Yeah.
If people are complaining that they can't get through.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller, for that. One of our listeners has written in and said, please suggest on behalf of Brackers that Cayman Brack Power and Light suspend the fuel factor. And it says, thanks and kind regards to you and Mr. Miller. So the Brack Power and Light, private owned?
As I know.
Yep, private owned, or the shares, I think, do people have shares in that?
I don't think so.
Okay. We hope and we trust someone from... We hope and we trust that someone from Brack Power and Light listening in and take into consideration the concerns of Brackers, and I'm sure that the Deputy Premier, as well as Minister Juliana O'Connor Connolly, if they're not listening, people can pass that information on to them, that there are people in the Brack who have concerns about electricity bills. They see what is happening here in Grand Cayman as far as CUC is concerned. Their concern up there is the fuel factor, the high fuel factor, and some adjustments on that, especially in these challenging times.
Yeah, early on we were talking about how people could assist in paying their staff.
Yes.
I think most of the companies here have business continuity plans, which have been encouraged by government, by hazard management and government and all the business entities. And a lot of them will have business interruption insurance. Now, we have to be sure that the insurance companies, because, they have ways of telling you after the fact that you don't qualify, right? Until you didn't read the fine print. So the government may have to look at this particular case and say that, yes, this is a catastrophic interruption of business. Although it's not a hurricane, it is just as bad. And therefore, the government may have to look at some policy position as to maybe declaring it a catastrophic event or something, so that the insurances cannot duck and hide.
Yes. Okay. Time for us to take a commercial break. Miss Susan, folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman. Coronavirus prevention tips. Advice for vulnerable people. Extra steps you can take to avoid COVID-19. If you have a chronic illness such as respiratory disease, diabetes, heart disease, COPD, hypertension, or cancer, or are elderly, over 60, or have a compromised immune system, you can further protect yourself with extra precautionary steps in addition to prevention tips. 1. Limit guest visits at home to a few family and friends or your district community officer during an outbreak. 2. Avoid guests who show signs of flu-like symptoms. 3. Remain 3 to 6 feet away unless being checked by your healthcare provider. More importantly, remember you are supported. Call the HSA helpline on 1-800-534-8600 or 947-3077 if you have any questions. For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
Here's a public service announcement. Jurors who are scheduled to attend court on the 1st of April 2020 are no longer to attend and may be regarded as being on standby until the end of the session, which expires on the 1st of July. The court will communicate updates in due course.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have MLA Mr. Ezra Miller in the studio. We have 4 callers lined up. We're going to take the first caller. We're going to ask each caller to recognize that someone else is behind them and to be as brief as possible. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, sir. This is Jonathan Tibbetts from Kimmerbrook Power and Light. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm fine, sir. Good to hear from you.
And Mr. Miller as well. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I was listening and heard regarding the fuel factor situation in Kimmerbrook Power and Light.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we don't have any way of controlling that other than what Rubis sends to us. As you are aware, fuel factor is simply an adjustment based on the cost of fuel.
All right.
I will mention that Rubis has passed on to us a 25 cent reduction in the price of fuel as of March 17th, which we, of course, pass directly on to our customers. So as they continue to lower the price to us, we continue to pass that on directly to our customers. This is all checked and cross-checked by OFREG and filed and so forth in order for us to be able to produce a bill at the end of each month.
Okay, so any reduction in the price of fuel that you receive from Rubis, you give that reduction as well to your customers?
Absolutely, and
yes.
that's audited every month by OFREG, so that's, there's a direct paper trail to all of that.
Right. And again, your point is that as far as the fuel factor is concerned, you have no control over that.
Right, we don't control the price of fuel, and unfortunately, the fuel suppliers only adjust the price of fuel to us anytime a tanker comes and delivers fuel. Now, if they do so at any other interval, by their own rights, they can do that, and we pass that on directly to our customers immediately. There's not something that we withhold, and again, it's completely audited, so there's no area for us to make any changes without the auditors verifying everything.
Right, so everything is transparent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And it's filed. It's all available through FOI and OFREG. So, it's not something that is hidden away from anybody. It's completely a public document.
Excellent. Good to know. We want to thank you very much for providing that information to us. Anything else that you want to say to your customers in the BRA?
Well, we certainly thank and appreciate all of our customers here. We've committed to OFREG and to the people of Kimmerbrook and Little Cayman that we would, do our best during this time to withhold from any sort of disconnections. But we do ask everyone to be responsible because if people don't pay their bills for a period of months, when things do start to settle back down, we could well end up with a situation where they're unable to pay them for a long period of time in the future. But we are certainly willing to do our part in being understanding and helping out in as many ways as possible.
Okay.
As everyone else is, and including our good friends at CUC, we're willing to do as much as possible.
Okay. I want to thank you very much, and thank you for being such a good corporate citizen as well.
Thank you for having us.
Okay. Thank you very much. And just to say, in terms of the fuel suppliers on the island, well, if we start to see maybe market forces will come into play. If their conscience and their sense of morality doesn't come into play, then maybe the market forces will come into play, and less cars on the road will mean less fuel being sold.
Right, but I find it interesting that they have been maintaining for so many years that they're not really making a whole pile of profit, but they could certainly drop 40 cents on what was it, 40 cents that some of them took off of a gallon of gasoline here a couple of days ago?
Yes.
That tells me that 40 cents was about the normal expectation of profit.
Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Great. I'm a Caymanian American on Cayman Brac, and I am scheduled to go up to Tampa on April 16th. Now, I have a bit of an idea that I'd like to pass on. When we go through Cayman Brac, okay, we are ticketed, and we're also processed by immigration. Upon arriving in Grand Cayman, we go through reticketing, we go through immigration. If anyone is within the sound of my voice, I think in order for us to do more social distancing, we could be forwarded to a room and then put on the Tampa plane without having contact with more people.
Okay, that may there may be some implications as far as the FAA in the United States is concerned, and whether or not that what you're required to do now is a part of the protocols and procedures that are required by the Federal Aviation Administration in the United States as well. Mr. Miller is a pilot, so he knows a little bit.
That's above my pay grade. Yeah. But I think that you're right in that those are governed by restrictions beyond our borders, and they require certain things, anti-terrorism and stuff like that,
security measures,
security measures for baggages. Although we know that we do have the baggage X-ray and
the scanning,
in the BRAC now, but there are very few airports in the world today that allow in transit passengers.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
We are already processed by immigration in Cayman BRAC.
But I don't understand if you come into Grand Cayman where you're processed by immigration in Cayman BRAC.
There are no immigration controls.
We are an international airport in Cayman BRAC, sirs. We are an international airport.
Yeah, but you're not going internationally when you come into Cayman.
When I go through Cayman, I am in transit to Tampa, which I have stated before to the gentleman that I just spoke to.
Now, when you travel, when I travel and I go to South Carolina and I stop in Charlotte, I clear immigration in Charlotte, but I have to still go back through security to get on that flight from Charlotte to South Carolina.
We are in a certain different situation, so my idea.
No, I'm in within the jurisdiction of the United States, just the same way that you're saying that you're in the jurisdiction, of the Cayman Islands.
Right. Well, it's just an idea.
We accept that, but we believe that may be a stretch at this point in time because it's not necessarily under our control. But thank you very much for the suggestion. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning.
Good morning. Go right ahead.
Hello?
Go right ahead.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yes, we're hearing you. Go right ahead, caller.
I had to pick the phone on because I was to pick you guys up.
Okay.
I'm not be long, Roger here.
No problem.
This is a suggestion there, and you, I guess, but I've been noticing every time I go, I think one thing that should have been stopped from the beginning, I believe. MoneyGram in Western Union, money going out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I go, people are in lines at Foster's and at different places, MoneyGram. And I'm thinking to myself, a lot of these people here work permit holders and probably on minimum wages, you know what I mean? And sending their money out. But I guess they feel pretty secure that, if they go broke and they got to be fair, that the Cayman Islands government will feed them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, that's just a suggestion. I don't know what you all think about that, but I think that should be stopped right now, too, until this thing is sorted out, if it ever gets sorted out. Because every time I look at TV in the morning, it doesn't look like this is going to end tomorrow.
Yeah, we will talk a little bit about, or we will try to, before the show's over, talk about the assistance that's being given by the government. I see in Bermuda, for instance, where I think it's every 2 weeks, $500 to all, including work permit holders, over there. And we can talk about that because we also have to bear in mind that those persons have families that they are the sole supporters. Yes, they may be the sole supporters of those families overseas, as well. But it's a discussion that we can have as well.
We don't need any more burden either. If we were left to
agreed. Yeah.
If I was the premier, everybody would have left it on a work permit for right now too, from 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Go home because, listen to me. The Bible prophecy will not be stopped. That will not be stopped. Remember what Bob Marley said? Have no fear for atomic energy because none of them will stop this time.
Mm-hmm.
We had the disasters. We had the plagues. Now we got the diseases. Next thing you know, the next thing is the famine, Be careful, guys. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Time for us to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Insurance is complicated. Make your life easier and better protected with comprehensive financial solutions from FIS Insurance Brokers, with plans from life, health, property insurance, motor, public liability, and professional liability insurance. Whether you're protecting your family or your business, leave nothing to chance. Understand your options and protect yourself for the future. Speak to your FIS Insurance Broker agent today, located on Shedden Road by MoneyGram, or call 623-5616.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed from Wednesday the 25th of March for 10 days, or until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all-clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe and let's get through this together by staying apart.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman. Coronavirus prevention tip. If persons have policy questions, you can go to gov.ky and click on coronavirus. Be in the know. You can find the latest advice and guidance for households, businesses, and schools, as well as advice pertaining to older persons or persons with chronic diseases. You can also email questions to flu@hsa.ky or the hotline numbers of 1-800-534-8600 or 947-3077. For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/coronavirus.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars. Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Ezra Miller. Mr. Miller, I think we have something, a response from the health services.
A response from the authorities at the HSA. They're saying that the GP walk-in clinics continued, and if somebody shows up at the GP clinic who needs a specialist, the doctor will refer to that specialist. But the booked specialists, that is those who have made appointment for specialist clinics, are not operating as normal. So you really need to call and find out whether the specialist that you were expecting to see needs to be there.
I want to thank you very much for that. We have 4 callers on hold. Again, caller, just be mindful of the fact that there are others behind you. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, I didn't get to finish my other questions and I was cut off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Our apologies for that.
These questions is to my health, and that's why I'm...
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to speak to Mr. Miller.
Speaking, I listen, sir.
Yes, Mr. Miller. I understand that when you get this running nose and sneezing, and then after that comes the cough, and then after that comes the sickness.
Shortness of breath.
And anyway, what happens is this. I want to find out if any allowance would meet a elderly person. When you go stay in your home, you get sick, who comes out to see you then?
Well, I think they still have some public health nurses and the district clinic. Nurses are still doing their house visits. So if you're in one of the, not in Georgetown, one of the districts, you should be able to get some assistance by calling the district clinic. Because as far as I know, the doctors, like for Northside, it is Tuesdays and Fridays. That's continuing. And the nurses still at the clinic. So your first line of defense would be if you can't get hold of the people. You heard what I said about the specialist clinics not operating as normal at a hospital, right?
Okay, another question is, when you get sick there, who comes out to see you?
Well, I think in the outer districts, it would be the nurse, the nurse from the district clinic would come and see you and do some evaluation. If if you've been diagnosed or any of your family member has been diagnosed as having the coronavirus, then I think there's a team that comes from the public health department or the HSA. They will come out and visit you and see what the problems are and find out all the contacts and all that sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Colin, did you hear?
What then with the infectious, like you got the infectious disease, then you got to stay at home with it?
Well, I think they're encouraging to stay at home as long as your symptoms are mild. But if you're to the point where you need respirators and that sort of stuff, then I think you would have to be admitted to hospital.
Yeah.
But they're doing an evaluation at home first.
The doctor will come out and diagnose it.
Yes.
And then whether your case calls or going to the hospital, then
they will make that determination.
And
yes.
remember that the ambulance is still operating. So if you're in a situation where you're a family member is in distress for breathing or other serious illness, call 911 and get the ambulance to come and get you.
And caller, you had concerns about your appointment with the specialist. Did you hear Mr. Miller's response on that? Did you get that?
I've got another question, please.
No. We have other callers lined up. We have given you more than enough. We know you have concerns about your health, but we have to be mindful. If I allow you, then I have to allow all of those persons to do it as well. But very quickly, go right ahead.
Mr. Miller, and I would like to ask it, and let's ask it.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Quickly. Go ahead, sir.
I got a farm, right? I got some cows.
Yeah.
And I need to pay attention to them to feed them. So what I'm thinking about, they should issue you a permit so you can operate freely without the police holding you up and stopping you and all that sort of thing.
Well, you would normally I would think that your farmer's license would qualify you for that. But if you have to go look after the animals and stuff, and that was cleared up by the Premier yesterday, that's being allowed.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm very thankful indeed. First of all, I'd like to say that I applaud the Premier and his government for the stance they have taken in regards to this situation with this coronavirus. I just hope and pray that people would take this thing very serious. You still got nuisances running up and down here, barking their heads off in public, because that's what I call them, a bunch of nuisances. What the Premier should do, he should take it a little bit further. Anyone found in public with flu-like symptoms, have them detained. Try them next year sometime around January or so. Or give me the opportunity to police it, because I would do them like what one old inspector used to do years ago. If you come in the police station Friday evening for beating up your wife, he conveniently forgot about you until Monday. These people is a bunch of nuisances. They don't understand the severity of what can potentially happen here, right? I mean, they're out there barking, like I said, barking their head off. I went in a public place the other day. This fella's in there. And I went up to him, I said, listen, man, can't you understand that when you have these flu-like symptoms, you should stay at home? I mean, I was prepared for the worst of it. Because they got to understand, ain't nothing that is that desperate that you can't call a friend and say, listen, boy, I got this at home, and I got that, but I'm not feeling well, and come so drop it off by my front door for me. We'll straighten up at the end of the day, some way, shape, or form. In these times, people will do anything in the world to assist you. But you got to understand, the government can only do certain things. The government can only take it to a certain extent, right? And have appreciation for the fact that we have a government who is working swiftly towards this. and trying to do their best, you know, to keep this thing at a minimum, right? I don't want to hear the next press briefing that we get more and more people that is infected. I want to hear that we're running steady and the other persons is getting better.
And keeping the curb flat, yes.
Yeah, exactly. If they run them down with this, you know, keep your backside home, man, right? I'm in this bush down here until I run out of all my supplies, and I'll take a chance and go, but I'm not coming out of this bush until then.
Okay.
Anyway, you all take care and have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, I guess it's I'm up just to say I didn't hear all of what Miss Mary had to her dissertation on the present situation, but I think she really laid it out there this morning, and what the Premier revealed yesterday afternoon, late afternoon, was quite disturbing as far as the business community go, because what we're being asked to do, pales to almost non-significance to what our forefathers did, to bring this place to where it's at. And I think anybody that comes to live among us got to understand that, or should understand it. But again, I think it falls back on us to put that educational element out there, so that whenever we come across these bumps, that maybe it can make it a little bit smoother for the whatever transitions that we got to do. So, I just hope that they will realize that they've come to live among us and really enjoy the fruits of what our forefathers, they fought in 2 world wars, in trenches of 2 world wars. They braved the 7 seas. So it's a little bit concerning, and I hope that that when the Premier comes back on today, that he can give us a very much more encouraging position on that whole aspect.
Excellent. Thank you very much, caller, for that. I think we can squeeze another one in before the break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Mr. Connor, to you first. I would like to offer my condolences to you on the passing of another family member.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. And good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, ma'am.
I just was obviously listening to your show, and I'm especially hoping that what I'll say will assist that lady, the one who has the
lupus,
lupus. Obviously, they put this public announcement out early, and they didn't cover everything. But what I would say to her or anyone else who has an illness that it's not on that list, know that you have it, so protect yourself accordingly. You are high risk. And in her case, she's got 2 things against her, her age and the lupus. And, as I say, to her or anyone else, you know what you have. And even if you didn't hear it on that list, or if you know someone else that has something and it wasn't mentioned on that list, give them a call and say, you are high risk. Be very careful. So she may never hear lupus on the list, but she knows that she has it. She knows other people that have it, so she can just encourage them to, basically self-isolate. Just, come out when it's absolutely necessary. And I just have a quick question from Mr. Miller.
Don't make it too hard now,
No. Okay. I've been following this thing on every station, reading everything concerning it. And personally, I was always of the opinion that this thing is airborne. And I know that they keep saying, oh, don't wear a mask, only if you're ill or you're feeling symptoms. Now, you see, I totally disagree with that, because in China, everybody was wearing a mask. I watched the other day where China has now gone to Italy to assist them. And when they spoke, the first thing they said, it wasn't even good morning or hello. They jumped on them like a ton of bricks and told them they were reckless, irresponsible, and selfish in the very beginning, because they should have been wearing masks when they went out and, were rubbing shoulders with everyone. And mind over matter, as we all know, is a very powerful thing. So if people wear a mask and it makes them feel that they're going to be safe just by wearing their mask, then that should be relaxed or encouraged. Let people wear their mask. You know, some people have other things going on and they want to wear their mask. Mm-hmm. So I think that should be.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I think that we need to understand a couple of things about wearing a mask, right? Is that you shouldn't be wearing the same mask 3-4 days in a row, or, you know, you need to change it frequently, and then we get back then to the local supply.
Right.
Whether we're in a position, but certainly people who are, as you were talking earlier, who are at risk because of some immune deficiency, whatever it may be, or other diseases, age, etc. Anybody who has one of the problems with the mask is that if you use it too long, it becomes moist just from your breath, and it will tend to grow more microbes, and you run the risk of re-inhaling them, right? So people who are using masks should do it with make sure they're using it properly, and secondly, don't try to reuse it or wear it for too long.
Obviously, when I said that, I meant to use it.
Yeah. Okay. But I wasn't talking to you, my dear. I was talking to the general public
Okay.
in terms of the use of the mask, right? But I have also observed that in countries that have had some success in dealing with this, that the majority of the people are wearing masks.
Mm-hmm. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. We have to take the commercial break. We have 2 callers on hold, so we're going to make those 2 calls the final calls, because I have several WhatsApp messages as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Vamped Motors encourages everyone to stay home in compliance with our government's directives, which are absolutely critical to protect our islands from the coronavirus. In light of this, Vamped Motors will be closed from Wednesday the 25th of March for 10 days, or until our Cayman Islands government gives us the all-clear to return to work. Please, everyone, be safe, and let's get through this together by staying apart.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Sending money to your family overseas shouldn't be a full-day process. Stop waiting in lines. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide, offering 3 convenient locations: Shedden Road, Baden Water Sports in West Bay, and at FIS BRAC Agency in Cayman Brac. MoneyGram by Financial Integrated Services. Visit fiscayman.com for more information on MoneyGram services. MoneyGram, bringing you closer.
A public service announcement from Radio Cayman.
Rumors and misinformation will not help us tackle the coronavirus. Remember, you can check on www.gov.ky/coronavirus to see trusted and up-to-date guidance from the experts. This page is being continually updated and should become your first port of call for the facts. Please do your part to avoid scare tactics and fake news. This government is not complacent. We will continue to prepare tirelessly, make the necessary decisions required in the best interests of the health and safety of our people. You may feel worried, scared, or stressed about the serious nature of COVID-19, but we can and will overcome this public threat. Again, remember to cover your cough and sneezes, wash your hands often, and avoid close contact with persons, especially if they're showing signs of respiratory illness. Please stay safe, and may God continue to bless the Cayman Islands.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Ezard Miller. 2 callers, but before we go to the calls, I'm going to try to, in between the calls, share some of the WhatsApp as well. This one says, good morning, OC. I can confirm my child attends Cayman Prep and is attending classes via Microsoft Teams like a normal school day. This other person says, Good morning, gentlemen. As a taxi driver, and I have to pay my own health insurance as well as for my dependent. Will the private health insurance providers be waiving payments for us? Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I am calling to agree with the callers who were referring to this virus as being airborne. That has been established now. And also to point people to the New Scientist website, which has referred to a research published last week by Jeffrey Shaman of Columbia University, New York. He and his colleagues have analyzed that in the course of this epidemic, 375 Chinese cities between January the 10th and the 23rd showed that when people who were asymptomatic, 86% of those actually showed that even though they were asymptomatic or had very mild symptoms, that they were still very contagious. So we were told yesterday, Dr. Lee said that unless you're coughing or sneezing, you can't pass on the virus. I beg to differ, and the research now shows differently. Also, I think it was Ms. Webb that called earlier, referring to the mask. Yes, and Mr. Ezard, the information he gave also is very important. Also, this false reassurance that because you're wearing a mask, you're safe even after you remove it. If you don't wash your hands, you can reinfect yourself. But yes, it's airborne, so masks would be handy. Yes, let's not take them away from the healthcare providers. However, if you can get access to the regular mask and protect your nose and mouth, that's very helpful. And the other thing is this secrecy enshrouded in our community when anything goes wrong needs to stop. There's one patient positive at HSA, and I'm sure she was employed somewhere, and yet we keep hearing messages not to follow false rumors. Well, you know what? It's not false, but people don't live under a rock in Cayman. People know who people are and know that that person is sick and whatever, and so that's where things will start being discussed in the community. And if the authorities would come forth and be upfront with the people, then people wouldn't have to take to rumors and fear-mongering, because people are afraid. And I'm pretty sure, I can't be positive, but I'm pretty sure she was not positive or showing any signs of COVID-19. However, she tested positive. Therefore, the fact that they've put 14 nurses and their families in isolation tells you that you can be asymptomatic and contagious, or else there wouldn't be this scare going on. And just after this came to light was when all of a sudden our curfew increased, and they're asking people only necessary services, essential service workers, to be up and about.
Yeah. Well, I think internationally they have said that you can be asymptomatic and still pass it on as well. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that. Good information, valuable information that you're passed on as well. Let's take our final caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C. Good morning, Mr. Miller. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning, sir.
What a thing we're faced with.
Yes.
Anyway, as far as I understand that Digicel is still operational, and I want to make a public announcement or a public complaint that customers on the BRIC have paid Digicel bills via Cayman National, and they still haven't been turned on. I myself is off. Ethernet is off. And my two daughters is studying via Ethernet from the teachers at the school, and they don't have any service. And Digicel is not answering any calls to the 623-3444 customer service line. So if they are closed down or not closed down, they need to let the public know. And I heard they were not cutting off anyone in these dire times of situation, that they would let customers go on. But bills have been paid and our services is not restored.
Not there, yeah.
Yes, so Digicel, get on your Ike and get these people that have paid their bills back in service. It's no time for your negligence with your services. That's what I have to say to Digicel.
Thank you very much for that. They fall under off?
ICTA.
ICTA, that's right, ICTA as well. Okay. One of our listeners has written in and said, I noticed in the new Public Health Law 2020, you have requested the restriction of certain operators, such as mobile beauty salon services and mobile barber shops. They do not, however, mention veterinary facilities or mobile veterinary services. Are these services not restricted as of yet? Or are these also included? Can they operate during the normal hours that aren't in curfew, such as 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.? What I will do with this, we will take this and try to forward it on to our Radio Cayman rep, who will be at the press briefing, and have them raise that question. This one other says concerning the lady that called from the BRAC. I think she said she is supposed to go to Tampa on the 16th of April. I would like to suggest to her not to go in April. The coronavirus will still be in Florida, and if she goes, she could catch it and bring it back to Cayman Islands. Last week, Friday, a man from BRAC went to Cuba and came back to the BRAC Sunday evening and went to a bar Sunday night. Someone called the police, and we heard the police took the man home and warned him not to come out again for 2 weeks. This one says, morning, can you please ask Mr. Miller, since there is a shortage of masks, then can people use a bandana or cloth mask which can be washed and reused? And one more, good morning. Can you ask Mr. Miller if he heard that the government were trying to do anything with the low-risk prisoners in terms of possible releasing them in order to lighten up the prison? So, Mr. Miller, that's a few for you.
But as far as the cloth mask is concerned, of course it can be used, but it needs to be sterilized properly.
Yes.
Again, I would recommend that, too worried about the colors in it, wash it in some Clorox water and make sure it's sterilized, because most people won't have heat sterilization available at home.
Mm-hmm.
The prison thing, I think that question came up at the press conference yesterday.
Yes.
The governor said that they were actively considering it.
Okay, just a few minutes left, but Mr. Miller, we never got a chance to talk about your press release that you put out and your message that you put out. That was on the 23rd, day before yesterday. If you basically could summarize what you want to say about that, and then I think you want to talk a little bit about Easter as well.
Yeah, basically what I was trying to do there was to encourage employers to accept some of the responsibility for looking after their employees, and suggesting that the employees should be reasonable in their requests. But I want to add to that is that normally, as you know, OC, the Northside District Council and my office, we try to provide certain amenities for Easter campers, i.e. additional portable toilets and garbage collectors and all that sort of stuff for the Easter campers who come particularly to the Kaibo and Rumpine area. I want to make it clear to the public, we are not, the MLA office nor the district council are not making any of those arrangements this year, because we accept people to appreciate shelter in place and social distances. And if you're going to Rumpine in your boat, just carry your household. Don't invite 10 other friends, because I was down there last Sunday with my household only in my boat, and I noticed that people were not practicing social distancing. It's just as important to practice it in the water as to practice it on land.
Yes.
But again, I want to, and we will be asking the police to insist that the curfew will, I think it's supposed to be over on the 3rd, and it's the following week. There's Easter, right? A week before Easter.
Yeah.
But there's a possibility that will be extended. But again, we're not making any provisions for large-scale camping in Northside and the Kaibo area. In fact, we are actively discouraging it because of the need, we believe, to not go out there and mix too much in the community. And let's keep the curve flat in Cayman with disease. And I guess as a parting thing, I'd just like to say to the listening public, be positive. Support each other, right? Remember that the life you're protecting is your own, but you also have a responsibility to protect those around you. And we need to stop looking for people to punish or to blame. We are all in this together, and we all need to cooperatively support and collaboratively support. And I am making a specific and deliberate appeal to the private sector. The civil service has set the example. They have shut down the essential services. They are maintaining they're shut down the non-essential services. They are maintaining the essential services, and they are working from home to try and deliver the services to people that need to be delivered. Again, we were talking about employers, the people who have the ability to give financial assistance to the employees immediately, because most employees now are paid through direct deposit, can do it, and then we can talk with the government afterwards to see if there's any, and whether the insurances will kick in. But in the meantime, I'm asking the private sector to follow the example of government. Look after your employees, treat them well, make sure that they have some income coming in that can allow them to buy medicines and food, etc.
You're going to need them later on.
Yeah.
And for those who are prepared to ignore the laws and flaunt them for the sake of the almighty dollar, just bear in mind that you may have the ability to make that almighty dollar by flouting the laws, but you may not get the ability to spend it, because at the end of the day, based on what you're doing, you may be making yourself susceptible to illness as well, and possible death. We've gone way beyond the time. I just want to say to people, we can all do our part. We're all in this boat together, and every little bit that we do in terms of ensuring that we comply with what the experts tell us will help to get us through these very challenging times. Folks, God bless. Have a great day. Join me again on Friday.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Today's